afternoon. My name is Jim Malatris. I am Governor Cuomo's Director of State Operations. I'm joined here today by Commissioner Basil Sagos, the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation, as well as Dr. Nathan Graber, who is the head of the Department of Health's Public Health Division. I'm also joined by representatives of the county as well as town officials. At the governor's direction, we met with town officials today to give them the results of testing that happened after Taconic Plastics, a company in town, contacted the state several weeks ago, stating that they had PFOA at their facility. The governor immediately dispatched his teams to that site to begin testing. And one of those tests that we did was testing the town's public water system. Late last evening, we received those results, which Dr. Graber and Commissioner Sagos can go through, but let me quickly give you what those results were. The well was tested at about 95 parts per trillion of PFOA. As you know, the EPA recently set the level of acceptable use for drinking at about 100 parts per trillion. Before that, it was about 400 parts per trillion. So although the water system came back underneath the federal level, out of abundance of caution, we contacted the state at the governor's behalf, the company immediately, and requested that they provide drinking water for the town as we continue our testing and moving forward. So the town, working with the town and working with the company agreed last night to provide drinking water indefinitely for drinking to the town as we continue our testing. And the Department of Environmental Conservation and the Department of Health, working with our local county and town representatives, will continue their investigation. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Graber first, who can go through some more of the results, and then Commissioner Sagos, and then some of our local officials. Thank you. Dr. Graber.
So following the information that we received from Taconic Plastics that there was a history of PFOA in the potentially leaching into the groundwater, we met with our county counterparts and went out to the factory to take a look at their records and look at the facility to see what type of treatment they had on their drinking water as well as the water surrounding it. And when we considered what we had seen, there was a decision made to go out and do additional sampling to look at the public water supplies in the area. For the town of Petersburgh, we sampled from the well, and we also sampled from a point out in the distribution system. And what we found was fairly consistent results, around 95 parts per trillion in both. I believe the well was 93.3 and the distribution 95.6, if I'm not correct. It's approximate, but the both samples came out at below 100, which the EPA has recommended that people use bottled water for drinking and food preparation. So even though those levels are below the 100, I think we need to gather more information, and I understand that we'll be getting more information from sampling that's been conducted by the county in the upcoming days.
Thank you. Commissioner Sagos.
Thank you. As Jim mentioned, the governor's first priority here is obviously making sure that people have access to clean water, and luckily we have a good outpouring of support in bottled water being provided now, starting today and carrying through indefinitely, unlimited supplies. DEC's role moving forward at the governor's direction is going to be to fully characterize the extent of the contamination. Once we know where it is, once we know what levels we're seeing in the ground, in the river, we're going to be able to design and force a remediation plan. So we're in this for the long haul. We want to make sure that the environment is protected, public health is protected, and that people will be able to drink clean water indefinitely. So that's all I have.
And just for the community that may have questions, we have set up a 1-800 number, which we will provide, so they can call it. It's open, it's available Monday through Saturday. I think we'll have it operational tomorrow, given that this is new to this community. So if they have any questions, if they have any concerns, please feel free to call that number. We'll be continuing our regular contact with town and county officials, and as we get the information, we will provide that information to folks. I think the town supervisor got the call as soon as we got the information, probably like 15 or 20 minutes or so later. I'm sorry we interrupted his dinner or whatever he was doing in the evening, but we wanted to make clear as soon as we got those results, we wanted people to be confident and secure that they know that they have a solution here. It is below the limit, so we want to be very clear. This is below the limit of the EPA levels, but we want to make sure that people have access to drinking water that we know is free from it. So with that, I don't know if the town supervisor or county official, would you like to speak up?
I just want to thank the officials from the state and the county who've been incredibly helpful. And as I said earlier to someone that being a small town like this, if we had to handle this all on our own, it'd be pretty tough. And we feel very fortunate that we have such support that has been taking place.
Yeah, Chairman of the Rensselaer County Legislature. I happen to live in Hoosick Falls, but I represent Petersburg. So as the Supervisor Shapok mentioned, that it's very important that we, as the governor's teams, all put together our resources with the county officials, the county executive's office, the town. We all put together an effort here to get water supplied to the residents here in Petersburg. Thank you.
So it's under the level. What's the big deal then?
Well, we have only one test from the well and one test from the distribution system, and because the recommendation is at 100, we always are concerned that the levels may be variable over time, and it may at some point come back as being higher than that or lower than that. And so we have more information. That's we think this is the best approach going forward to be as cautious as possible.
So how long could it be before we know, before you have a real good grip on what the problem is here, or if there isn't a problem?
So we do have additional sampling taking place. We're coordinating with our counterparts at the county health department to get additional samples taken both from the water system as well as around the area. And the additional samples, I believe, we'll be getting results from the county later this week, and that'll give us a lot more information.
Commissioner, you mentioned the Hoosick River possibly being contaminated. Can you explain more on that? Because with the flow, that would seem to expand the area.
Sure. Well, we certainly believe that the source of contamination, at least in Petersburg, is the Taconic. And groundwater typically flows from a source into a river. So we actually have been testing the river. We've tested downstream. We're going to continue testing upstream all the way past Petersburg, and we'll have a better sense just from a contamination perspective how far and how fast the contamination may have traveled.
Any idea how far so far?
Not yet.
So for residents watching, how do you know if you're not on this municipality's water system? How do you know if you should be drinking bottled water?
Well, I think it's been made clear bottled water is being made available to everybody. So out of an abundance of caution, anyone who has concerns should just come in and get the water that they desire.
Would that be for anyone in the town, the people that are outside the water district who draw water from wells along the river? Should they be coming?
Well, there haven't been any limitations put on either who gets it or how much they want. So at this point, if people want fresh water, clean water, they should just come and get it.
Okay.
Do we know how long it's going to take for your findings to come back? Or?
Well, we want to move quickly, expeditiously. I mean, we're in coordination with the county, with our partners at DOH. Too soon is never an option. So we're going to move very quickly. We're going to put out there facts and science and make sure that the public is aware every step of our investigation.
But to that point, we were contacted again by the company at the beginning of this month. We began testing immediately. We got those results back within weeks. We shared those results as soon as we got those results. We shared them with the town, we shared them with the county, and we'll continue to do so. So as soon as we get that information, we'll provide that information to folks. We want people to remain calm. This is below the level that's been suggested. It's close to the 100 parts per trillion. That's why we're giving this ability for folks to get the drinking water from bottled sources. But we'll keep people informed. They should contact that 1-800 number. They should call their town and county representatives. They should call their state representatives so we can keep them informed, and we will keep them informed as the investigation continues.
And this is a question for the town supervisor or someone. Do you know how many people are on the water district right now?
Approximately 74, 75 households are served.
Gotcha. Okay.
And how many in the town? Do you know what the population?
Town's about 1,600.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
How about statewide? I mean, this seems to be becoming a bigger problem. Is there any plan to start testing more places in the immediate area and then moving outward?
The governor this week just announced a statewide water quality task force to address these issues. The issues are different depending on the community you're in, right? We were on Long Island for that announcement, and it was a different kind of chemical from a different plant source that was the reason for expanded testing there. Upstate, the governor mentioned sodium deposits and salt deposits was another reason. We're now going to put this team of experts together from the Department of Health, from the Department of Environmental Conservation, using other experts, put together a holistic plan of regulations and other things, and come back for a holistic thing. This is a national problem, right? This is not limited to New York State. We're seeing it all over, but we want to be aggressive in this state and make sure that we're getting and dealing with the issues as they come up. So that's going to be going on in real time, but as these things do emerge in communities, we're going to be there. And the governor has made clear that he's going to deploy us every time something comes up, and we're going to be aggressive and immediate. And I hope that folks can have confidence that their drinking water is safe.
How does this compare to the situation in Hoosick Falls?
So the levels that were found in Hoosick Falls were higher than what we found here in Petersburg. The levels were as high as 662 parts per trillion in the sampling. And there was also a lot of concern in the area because of the sort of shifting and changing of the guidance value that may have created some confusion. So to address a lot of that alarm and a lot of that concern, we have been communicating with people in the community, speaking to them about their health concerns, as well as conducting things. We have biomonitoring where we're testing people, looking at their blood levels for PFOA, as well as testing and sampling private wells, just like we're doing here.
All right, guys.
Any chance of filtering, the state bringing filter systems in here like they're doing up for the 1,500 homes in Hoosick Falls yet, or is it too early? What's the situation?
I think it's too early to tell right now. We're going to continue our testing. I think when we got the initial results back from the town's public water system, that was right at the level, we said let's go to bottled water for drinking purposes or cooking, and have the company pay for that, which they're doing. So as the tests come back, if it's higher or if it's different and we need a different result or remedy, we'll do that. If it's filtration or other things, we'll address it as that comes back. But for this immediate round of results that we got back, suggest bottled water for the town system.
Any more additional state Superfund money to be brought into Petersburg to deal with the situation here?
That is premature right now. The Department of Environmental Conservation is investigating. As soon as we got the call back, we'll keep the community informed as that emerges.
We don't have any.
But that's, I've heard that, I don't know.
Perspective, exactly what aquifers are impacted and which ones aren't. I mean, that's going to be what we're
Concerned about the river.
Well, I think what we're looking at is a whole system, right? We want to understand not only we'll have a whole system analysis effectively of where the contamination is, and then design a remediation around that.
So we tell the causal connection, right? You have the facility up on the hill, down the hill is the well, right?
Up to our reservoir, and then it was distributed, so.
I think what we know is PFOA is solid, right?
PA regional, which we're taking as sort of like the national standard now. It's underneath that standard. It's on the border, on the homes on the system. So we can always see if it comes back a little higher, then